innovative content, global audience.
Hello, good morning, viewers. Yes, it's a very beautiful morning here in London. Uh, Thanks for joining us this morning on the weekly bulletin, where we'll be bringing you all the headlines, everything very topical, national, of course, trending issues regarding us and the country, Nigeria. Now, it has been a mixed feeling since for Nigerians for the much awaited ministerial list, which was released yesterday. A lot of people, while some are sad, some are happy, some are very optimistic about that list. Now, a look across Nigeria and everything that has been happening over the week, you will agree with me that quite a lot has happened. But you will agree with me as well that the ministerial list is just a way that carries the likes of Wike years on the very, very Wike. Yes, it has been causing a lot of uproar all over social media and, of course, across the medias. And we have people like Festus Keyamo, Simon Lalong. A lot of them did come on that list as your ministers. Now, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this? But before we even kickstart, don't forget also that we have a lot of other issues as regard to the fuel subsidy removal. There might just be another reverse there. Who knows? Let's keep our fingers crossed. Now, this is the weekly bulletin where we bring you very topical issues, interesting issues, all the headline stories that made the headline over the week. I am Princess Kessy. I'm reaching you live from our Srtv studio here in London. And of course, I have with me today to dissect these very headlines issues, national issues, no other than Chikuma is a trade unionist, a senior reporter, and of course, a political analyst. Good morning, sir. Nice to have you here with us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Yes, we have a lot of trending issues over the week. Of course, a look across the country, you see ranging from politics to economic to agriculture to even religious activities and a lot of sports as well. But let's kickstart with the list that was released yesterday. Tell us about how do you feel about this as a Nigerian? Now we have a lot of uproar. That list have been we've seen a lot of mixed feelings, mixed reaction over this. Chukuma, before we start, it's as if your phone is not very stable.
It's okay. Let me see if I can adjust.
Yes, just you have to place it somewhere so we don't have a
It
lot of
says I think is the sitting position. Okay. I hope it's better now. On my laptop. Better now?
Yeah, not very better, but we can make do like if you could sit up a little. That
Okay.
phone is supposed to be in your front. You're supposed to look at it directly, like your front, not side.
It's what I can achieve here. Is the best I can achieve.
All right, no problem, sir. Now we've seen a lot of mixed feeling over the ministerial list. We've seen a lot of reactions since yesterday. People like Yesom Wike has been making waves and making news since yesterday. Now, what do you make of this list, or what's your reaction to this?
Okay, it's the usual political situation in Nigeria. Whenever a president comes on, he look for those who helped him achieve that process and reward them. A few technocrats, yes, but mostly politicians. And ordinarily, we have said in the past that we need more of technocrats, those who are going there knowing their onions and would be there to change the trajectory, because we are coming from a part that Nigerians, majority of Nigerians are impoverished. Recall that only a few years ago we were reported to be the headquarters, the poverty capital of the world. That fact has not changed. In fact, it's with this recent subsidy removal, we have plunged deeper into that part. The figures would have risen very high now. So we there is so much to be done, and I think using politicians as mostly politicians who helped the president to wade through the political uh, system to get to power are those who are there. And for me, as far as I'm concerned, that is not the much of what Nigerians need now, because we need those who understand the ministries and how it ought to be managed, so that Nigerians will get the dividends of democracy as we expect.
Now, obviously, people are very concerned about the kind of people that should be appointed as, when we talk about key or sensitive ministerial seats, such as the health sector, the education, of course, and other very sensitive one. Now, people, and as well the Federal Capital Territory. Now, what's your take? A lot of people feel like a Wike do not deserve this particular position, and he has been appointed that Minister of FCT as to see if they will be able, when they if they are coming back next election, Wike can do the magic he did for them in River State. Now, what's your take on this?
As far as I'm concerned, if there are a few people who delivered dividends of democracy for their people during the last administration, Wike is one of them. Recall he's known as Mr. Project. And as far as we are concerned in Nigeria, because the missing link is dividends of democracy. And that's why you see the problem we have in Niger. The people say they are supporting the junta because they've not seen dividends of democracy. So anybody who is doing its part very well should be encouraged. And as far as I'm concerned, Wike has played his part very well. And let's see how his Minister of FCT will play out. He deserves it. And even if there is anything better than that, he should get, because he has proven to be somebody who can be trusted with public responsibility.
Well said. Now let's look at these ministers very critically. Their portfolio each, where they are quite a number. But what should be the expectations of Nigerians from these newly appointed ministers?
Like I said initially, is nothing less of uh, hitting the ground running immediately and ensuring that every policy of government is implemented as much as would make the average Nigerian have hope of putting food on his table, and actually practically achieving that as soon as possible. Because as I speak today, there are several Nigerians who go to bed without 2 square meals in Nigeria. So that is a very sorry situation. And the earlier we get back to when the average family, the common man on the street, can afford to provide 3 square meals for his family, I think we wouldn't have gotten it right. So the earlier they take us back to that part, the better for us.
Like I said, we just keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully, we'll see better things to come. And now
Yeah.
let's a little move into the naira now. We've seen how the naira has been fluctuating, and a lot of people have the opinion. People are concerned. People such as Falana. A lot of people are criticizing and are very worried about the floating of naira. What do you think the CBN should do about this?
It's not rocket science. We are an import-driven country. When we face critically the responsibility, and that is where the job of the new administration is cut out for them. The very important structures that we need on ground, to drive the developmental process. Power is critically important to achieving the kind of future Nigerians are looking for. Outside power, we also need to empower the small and medium scale enterprises. Those are the uh, enterprises that stimulate the economy. When you have more of them and they are doing very well, and power is critical in that direction. Infrastructure for rural development, so that you reduce more of rural urban migration, and mitigate the effects of climate change. These are very critical issues because, like I said initially, poverty is one of the greatest challenge Nigerians are facing now. They they don't have, in fact, up to they said the minimum standard is $2 a day, but most Nigerians doesn't get even up to half a dollar, 50 cents a day. So it is unfortunate, and we pray that government gets into motion immediately towards addressing these issues. And these are issues exporting, importing fuel, that's foreign exchange. It continues to deplete our resources. If we can work towards getting our refineries to work so that we do less of importation, and you see our naira will bounce back, and it will create more employment, and Nigeria will be better for it. So these are very sensitive issues that have been there over the years, and nobody in Nigeria that is of a sane mind and progressive that does not know about these factors. So we are hopeful that government will tackle this head on as they commence the process of the ministers and the executive putting their acts together to hit the ground running.
Well, and what's your take also? We saw Falana dragging CBN to court over the floating of Naira. Do you think that is even a good move based on what you've just said?
Yeah, the truth is, we until we get to put our leaders on their toes, yeah, it is a welcome development if that will help them to take the right decision. Femi Falana has a reputation of standing with the people, and this is one of that part. We are praying that he gets it right so that we can get our naira back afloat, and it will be good and better for our economy.
Well, away from that now, I know you are from the organized labor as well. Now let's look at some of the headlines that are making waves this week critically. We saw one here. This is even coming from one of the topical headlines today. It says Labour fought 180 billion naira palliative. This governor will frustrate program. Now, what's your take on this? We saw that
Like I said,
there is this move by the federal government to issue 5 billion naira each to states for palliative to
yeah,
cushion
some states say they've given gotten 2 billion already.
okay.
So before it was announced, so we were here when President Buhari did the same thing when he came in to ensure that salaries were paid. We did not see the impact in most states. Only a few states were practical about utilizing those resources. For us, we think it is the same political way of settling the governors to share the money. Most of those monies, we will not see them, the effect in the grassroots. If those monies were used to procure buses that will mitigate the high cost of transportation, it will go a long way. And if it were used to invest in the repairs of our refineries, it will go a long way. We will be conscious and wait and know that maybe in the next 3 or 4 months, our refineries will be up and running, and we'll know that this phase of suffering will just be for a while. But for now, nobody knows when it's going to come to an end. It's seeming to be an endless wait. So, but we will continue to speak about these issues so that it sinks into their year, and we pray that this time they would be able to do better than they've been doing previously. It is a challenge to those who are political leaders today to ensure that they represent their people properly and ensure that their people, because whenever it gets bad, they will be the first target.
That is
Look at what is happening in Niger. So we don't want to degenerate to Niger, and that is
level.
why we'll continue to speak so that our leaders can listen to us and do the needful to get Nigeria on the right path.
Now, I'm even worried myself because this is not just the consign of the TUC and LFC alone, but all Nigerians. We do hope sincerely that this new move, this so much money made for palliatives, will not be hoarded or. The normal thing these politicians do. And now also there is a news here that says NEC committee to meet Labour over subsidy relief. Tinubu applauds appeals to Nigerians. Now, Labour have, we know that there has been meeting upon meetings now. What do you think Nigerians should expect from this next meeting? Because it seems though that Nigerians they begin to feel that they are beginning to feel that the federal government is taking the efforts of Labour and the people for granted.
I would reassure Nigerian people is that the leadership of the organized labor have their interests at heart, and we will continue to engage government to ensure that at least the common man on the street gets a better life. The welfare of the people and the security is the priority, topmost priority of every government, and it is captured in our constitution. So where government has failed to meet these very salient factors, we will continue to speak out. And the organized labor will continue to engage, even if government will try to use every strategy to untwist them to ensure that they budge negatively. They will continue to resist and ensure that their interest is protected, because it is not only the interest of the leadership that we are taking into cognizance. The Nigerian workers are also people who should be critically looked into. Look, since the palliative subsidy was removed, the workers' salaries have not changed. And people are paying over 70% of their salaries as transportation to work. There's no country that sustains itself with that. Some have taken the option of working only 3 days or 2 days in a week. That is reducing productivity. And this is not a part the giant of Africa should do if they want to lead Africa to a better prosperity.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I love the direction at which you're taking these questions. And now let's look at Emefele's case carefully. We saw that DSS dropped charges of a firearm and other things against Emefiele. Now, one would say that, like this news we saw this morning, that Fanala did take CBN to court, and then the previous CBN governor, there's a news here that said Emefiele, DSS drops firearms charges, 1.9 billion naira fraud case adjourned. Now, what's your take on this? Because this is a very, very sensitive matter and issue as well. Nigerians are watching.
As far as I'm concerned, what is playing out is the DSS is not being progressive, because initially it was firearms, and if they've held him before they came for that firearms, it means they were not ready. In Sena Climes, investigation is concluded before arrest. So now they've left the firearms and they are now looking at the other one. Yes, I'm not saying the CBN governor is clean. Prosecution should start. Nobody owns the courts. The courts would have it there, and everybody would make their presentation. The preponderance of evidence would be what would influence the judgment.
Wow. And now away from economy issue and now back to these ministerial seats positions. Nigerians of the opinion that a lot of these people, we could see the list from what I saw yesterday. You could see some youths there, people classified to be youth, like three or two there in that list. Now, Nigerians, I followed the comments, the trends carefully this morning. The social media is agog, and they are feeling that the president is supposed to, he promised to carry the youth along. And some of these sensitive positions, even though most of these youths don't have, in Nigeria, there's something they say, godfatherism or wisdom when it comes to handling public office. Now, they have the opinion that they would have preferred more youths, more young people in that list. Do you share this opinion?
Yes, I do. In fact, the Minister of Youth Development, I think, from is over 60,
Yes,
if not.
time
So,
for
so
Nigeria.
it is it is appalling to say the least. In a country where we have young people who have distinguished themselves in globally and locally, in a country where we have people who continue, young people who continue to trail the blaze internationally and locally. We are uh, giving an elder statesman in quotes minister for youth development. It's like I said initially, it goes to buttress the fact that like I said, it is just to appease the politicians who supported him to win election, and that
And,
has been the
and
trajectory
yes,
over the years.
and how can we now move above this? Because we've seen this reoccurrent issue of where politicians, after the whole elections, tend to, instead of focusing on people that are supposed to do the job, people qualified to be in that seat, that office, you see where they now come and give it to their friends. I call them friends. I call them their whatever, just to make sure, okay, this is kind of reward, I'm rewarding you. How do we not live above this? Because I did have a guest here on Monday that said if we don't change this system of, oh, you help me attain this position, so I will have to return the favor, we'll still be running in that same circle.
It's breaking, but if I heard you clearly, the truth is that's why we always say our problems is leadership. This is what we are discussing now is the product of leadership. Is our leadership, is our president that nominated him, and he has been cleared, and he has been appointed Minister of Youth. So if our leaders can get it right, listen to the voice of their followers, because we are in a democracy, the citizens are those who drive governance, because we elect our leaders. And in our country, you find out that the citizens have been dormant for a very long time. They've not been allowed to express themselves in a way that it will be resounding in the ears of the leaders. Because the leaders will listen, it will pass from one ear and it spills through the other ear. And it is unfortunate because we keep saying these things, public analysts, political analysts, they keep saying these things that technocrats should fill in the space, youth should be given an opportunity to take up leadership positions. But till date, with the last appointment, the ministerial list, you find out that there are just almost no young people in it.
Once again,
So it's most unfortunate that we continue to have leaders who uh, take decision for themselves and they leave the people out. Even if we continue to say we operate a democracy that has been defined to be a government for the people and by the people.
well, we really do hope that I don't know, like you said, we say something and the next thing it goes through the other ear and just go out. Because, like I did mention at the beginning of the program, there are some ministerial, even though we know every position is very, very key, there are some that are very sensitive to the people and, of course, to the progress of the nation. So we just keep our fingers.
Your audio is breaking. I don't know why.
It could be
Audio is
from
breaking. I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you clear.
Hello, Mr. Chikuma. Can you hear me now, comrade? Hello?
Yes.
Oh,
Hello.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, like a little. I think that that is from your end. Network issues here and there. And then I saw a very I saw this headline also that actually caught my attention as well. That said, we will invade Niger if diplomacy fails. This is coming from ECOWAS. Now we a nation. We are under ECOWAS. Now, what is your take on this very headline?
I
Can
can't.
you?
I can't even get anything from what you're saying now.
Oh, okay, viewers. We seems we have a little bit of network issues there from that end. We'll go on a quick break now. We'll return. We'll continue with the program. Don't go anywhere. Weekly bulletin. We'll be right back after this break.
Srtv. Innovative content. Global audience.
Hello, viewers. You're welcome back from that break. This is weekly bulletin where we bring you topical issues, headlines over the week, ranging from politics, economy, culture, entertainment, education, and anything very informative, and the progress of a nation. Good morning. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. Now, can you hear me, Chikuma? Can you hear me now?
It's still breaking. It's
Okay,
still
this is what
breaking. I can barely
I
hear you.
I want you to log
I
out and come back again. Log out and come in again. Let's see how that will work. Right? Can you hear me? Yes.
I can
Just
barely hear you.
just
It's
log
just
out and
breaking.
log in again. Yes, viewers. Hopefully, we'll have our guest back. He was doing justice just there, and like some of the headlines are very very captivating, especially the one of the palliative. Now, when you're talking about how to save money for the country, how to make things work, and that is why you stop at you had to cut off the subsidy, and at the end of the day, you're spending so much time trying to give palliatives. Now, I don't understand. There is something that I don't quite get. If you're saying there shouldn't be subsidy because we are owing so much debt, we don't have money to fund it, and then you have money for palliative. So, how is that even working? And like NLC and TUC did say that they are very worried about the outcome of this palliative this program. We know how some of these governors, politicians could be. You could just find out that this money might just be seated upon by two or three persons, and that would be the end. And they just tend to like, okay, I don't. They will even don't give accounts at the end of the day. So how are we sure that this money, this palliative, will get to the right people? This is the question of the day. And of course, we also saw. Hello, Chukuma, can you hear me now? Hello. Wow. Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Uh, okay. Let me just speak up. Let me.
Did you? I said you should log out and log in again. Did you do that?
Sincerely speaking, it has been breaking, and if you're hearing me clear, it means it's from your
I
end.
can hear you. I
So
can hear
maybe
you.
you. It's breaking. The network keeps breaking. So if you're hearing me clear, it means okay. So
Hopefully,
maybe
hopefully viewers will
let
have.
me let me leave and log in again.
Yes, yes, that is what you should do. But viewers, on a sincere note, like we've seen a lot of trending issues. I was going to finish with politics, economy. These are the very pressing issues we have regarding the economy before we go to other soft stories. And now we saw also that Falana is taking CBN to court. I can't wait to see how that unfolds. one would say, I don't even know how people that are doing business, how are they coping? Because I don't see the need of doing business anymore. Somebody did call me yesterday that he needs a car, a Prado Jeep. I should get the Prado Jeep, and I told him that would be difficult. It's better you buy within Nigeria, because if you're saying I should order, if we begin to calculate this money, it's going to be a very serious issue, and I don't want that. I don't want to do any business under pressure, so I had to let that pass. Chukuma, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better now.
Okay, really nice to have you back. Yes, Chukuma, we were just discussing about fuel subsidy removal as well. Now, talking about fuel subsidy removal, there's something that I don't quite understand. Maybe even the viewers as well. Now, tell us, the government did say they don't have the resources to keep funding subsidy, and the end of the day, they have so much money for palliatives. Now, what's your take on this?
I didn't get the last part.
I said the government did say that they don't have money to fund subsidy, but they have money now to for palliatives. Now, what's your take on this?
Okay, like I said initially, it depends where they are channeling the palliatives to. We've agreed, in fact, most public speakers have proposed cushioning the effect. And in fact, from the time of President Jonathan, when he initially wanted to remove the subsidy, that was when the Shopee buses and the Shopee cabs were bought, and it flooded major towns to cushion the effect of subsidy removal. And this is what we are saying. Government should have known better to know that before removing subsidy, major routes in state capitals, in the federal capital territory, in the commercial city of Lagos, and in strategic places, they should have drawn a map of areas with high level of traffic and put maybe CNG, compressed natural gas driven buses to cushion the effect of transportation, so that we'll not be talking about going to work for 3 days, which reduces productivity.
Okay, can you hear me, Chukuma? Because there's this
Yes.
headline I saw that says subsidy remover, federal government shocked over high food transportation costs. So I am surprised that at
Ah,
this stage, at this point in time, the federal government is shocked over the high food and transportation costs. What were they expecting? Somebody might want to ask that question.
yeah, yeah, food prices will rise because farmers will have to take transport to take their produce to where they will be sold. The same thing with those who buy from the producers, they will transport it back to where they sell to the retailers. So it will definitely increase the cost of transportation. And I mean, the cost of food pricing and all that. So it is important, like I was saying initially, that if these buses were made available, it will cushion the effect of transportation in the whole sector, and that's what would have been saner for government to do.
Now, don't forget also that the president did say that, as regarding to subsidy removal, no instant solution to Nigeria's problem. Now, that came from the president yesterday. That no instant, no immediate solution. They will just have to bear for some time. Now, how do you think Nigerians can live above this? What do you have to tell Nigerians? Because it seems we are going to be here for quite some time.
I premised my discussion earlier on the fact that the priority of government is the security and well-being of the people. And that was why initially subsidy came into play. And if you're removing subsidy, there must be a cushioning effect so that it doesn't, that welfare of the people wouldn't have been lost. The people are not faring well as far as Nigeria is today. The average Nigerian parent, father, and mother, sometimes they go home with shameful look on their face because they can no longer put 2 square meals on the food on the table for their children. Their children are looking at them as people who have disappointed them, bringing them to the world to come and suffer. So, but that is not how it should be. These are people who work so much to ensure that they put food on the table. But unfortunately, because most of their resources are going towards transportation for them to remain productive, they cannot sustain that tempo. And we are saying it is not rocket science. We are an oil producing country. What has government done to ensure that our refineries, 4 of them, and the Dangote refinery, which was commissioned before in May, what has government done to ensure that all these refineries are working so that we don't continue to devalue our naira by importing a product that God has blessed us with? And you still go back to the creek. No modular refineries have not taken off yet. So we don't even have any local production for petroleum products as it is today. In the last 30 years, our refineries have not produced even 1 gallon of fuel. This is the resources God has blessed us with, and we even have 4 refineries. But for the last 30 years, or if not more, the leadership of Nigeria successively have ignored it because they make money for themselves with petrodollar. And that is what we are saying. Nigerians, we don't want that again. We should be conscious about engaging our refineries to be productive as soon as possible. We should also be conscious about the fact that all Nigerians should be made to feel at home in their country. The Japa syndrome is everywhere. Thank God you are in the UK now. You're living. you're living. So many Nigerians. If they get the opportunity, they will not come back. So it is telling on us. It is telling on us, and unfortunately, government is turning a deaf ear to all this plea.
Wow, and now it's quite. I'm even more ashamed that the government will say they are shocked over the high cost of food and transportation. So all these months, where have they been? Is it that they don't go through the news, they don't see the news, and they don't care about the people? Now we'll see how that goes. But away from subsidy and politics, Chukuma. Now let's talk about flooding in Nigeria. Now this is something that has to do with the people. You did say people are not even up to meet up to 2 square meals a day. Let's not even add another stress or crisis to their lives.
Yeah, that's what we are saying.
We see the issue of flooding. It is ravaging a lot of states. That is one major issue, topical headline from Monday till today. Now, what do you think we should do as a people? Because a lot of communities, a lot of people are displaced, a lot of people are vulnerable as well at a time like this.
You see, the last protest led by the NLC. NLC has given leadership to galvanize, to project the interest of the populace. The people should organize. The average Nigerian tells himself that he's a local government of himself. He provides himself electricity. He provides himself water. He provides himself almost everything that government should ordinarily provide for themselves. So we should look out for ourselves, especially those who are well to do it. They should support the average Nigerians so that we can wade through this turbulent time. we should look out for our brothers who do not have enough for now. We have some right-thinking Nigerians who are out there who are trying to see how to help those who are most vulnerable. And we just it's the only way is just to encourage them, those who are not thinking towards that direction, to please look out for those who they can support to survive this period, because it is really biting hard on Nigerians. I can assure
Yes,
you that.
yeah, but I saw as regarding the flooding this year, flooding. Now there's
Yes.
one headline here that it says a flood. We are burdened by over 6,000 IDPs. Now this is the government. Now the government is now crying out over flooding. What do you think the appropriate authorities should do, or what they should have? What are they supposed to do moving forward? Because we see that the flooding is really ravaging a lot of communities. A lot of people as of now are displaced.
Climate change is real, and early preparation is key. All these things would have been mitigated if we commenced earlier, before the rainy season. If we had consciously knowing the devastation that happened last year with flooding, we would have been conscious enough to dredge the strategic rivers or canals that can channel water and ensure they follow their proper courses. And also some of the practices in our neighborhood, like disposing refuse in lagoons, in roadsides that go to block the water channels, and all that. These are environmental issues that should be taken up with due research, understanding the prevalence and the causes. If you do a better research on the causes and prevalence of this flooding, government would have been strategic enough to mitigate it, because in 2012 it was there. Last year it was at its peak, and we don't know whether it will continue that same way this year. So the earlier the government is conscious about this, do a mapping of where these floodings are coming from, and know how, where needs to be dredged, those places should be dredged. Areas that need to proper refuse disposal should be, those all those should be taken into cognizance, and ensure that our people are saved from this natural disaster.
Well said. And also, there's a particular headline that caught my attention. Can you hear me, Chukuma? Comrade, can you hear me? Hello, comrade, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, if you can hear me, there's this particular headline that has caught my attention also, that says over 1,680 Nigerian school children kidnapped since Chibok incident. What do we make of this? And now we have a new Minister of Defense. Can you hear me? Hello, Shukuma, can you hear me? Okay,
Not, I'm not hearing you.
hello. Can you hear me now, comrade? Okay, I think we have a lot of network issues coming from.
Better now, better now.
Okay, so I was just asking that there is this news here that says over 680 Nigerian school children kidnapped since Chibok incidents. Now we have a new Minister of Defense, we have new ministers, and as regarding to insecurity, what are we to expect?
If I heard you clear, you're talking about out of school children.
No, I'm talking about the number of girls, school children that have been kidnapped since the Chibok.
Oh, okay, kidnapped.
Yes, school children that have been kidnapped. So the report from SCI says 1,680 680 school children have been kidnapped. Now we have new ministers. What should be the expectations as regarding to insecurity?
Uh, top on their priorities should be, we've done more of a lethal attack. I think it should be time for more of the Georgia than the war, because the war has not yielded the desired benefits to Nigeria. I think these people are not ghosts. They should engage wherever they are coming, and also our communities, those vulnerable communities. Government should ensure that their strategic security presence in those locations, because it is not okay that you're in your house and even wondering of where your next meal will come. The next thing you see is bandits coming into your house to uh, attack you. Sometimes people are killed, sometimes others are kidnapped. So the top on the priority should be the security of our people. Those vulnerable places, we hear of Kaduna, Zamfara. These are small locations. If they are properly secured, these areas are properly secured, I think it will not take so much for Nigerians to ward off these insurgents or these bandits as they are called.
Wow, well, thank you so very much, Chukuma. You've done justice this morning. We do hope to have you next week again on the show, weekly bulletin. But we'll have to let you go now because of time. There are a lot of issues we're supposed to discuss as a people, topical issues, but we just take it one step at a time. Well, thank you, our viewers. Have been on the show with Comrade Chukuma Inze. He is a trade unionist, a senior journalist, and a political analyst. Thank you so very much, comrade.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yourself a very beautiful weekend. Yes, viewers, thank you for being on the show. But
Srtv. Innovative content. Global audience.
yes, viewers, yes, this is the weekly bulletin where we bring you headlines, topical headlines of the week. I've been on the show. I was on the show with Comrade Chukuma, who did justice. Just before we go, don't forget that our monthly magazine, Srtv magazine, is out, and this edition is so. We have a lot of captivating stories there. You could see there Black Bone Theater, Rhymes and Motion. This is one of the stories there. You could see they're very captivating. We have a lot of stories in that magazine, a lot of activities. So you do where to get your copy. And don't forget also that you can be part of it. Anything you want us to cover, from wedding, from your interviews, from your bill, from begging, from every celebration, we'll be there to showcase your activities to the world. So don't be left out. We have both online, the hard copy, or copies available for you to keep your stories. Yes, to archive your activities. That is the best thing to do. Do get yourself a copy. And as well, don't forget to follow us on all social media handles: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And don't forget to hit on the notification bell, invite somebody to the page, and let that person invite another person. Watch, share, and like. Now it's weekend. Yes, thank God it's Friday, like we always say. But while you are out there having fun, take care of yourself and know that tomorrow is going to be better. While you are out there, also remember that peace is priceless. So let's give peace a chance. Don't forget to get SRTV magazine for the month. This edition is quite interesting and captivating. Like I said, you must get copy. And I want to, you can reach out to us as individual. We can have exclusive interview on you. If it's not necessarily just birthdays or just events, we can have an exclusive. We'll put your activities, anything you want to showcase, from business to family life to anything in society. We just have to showcase you to the world. Keep in touch and remain blessed.
Srtv. Innovative content.